Most people, when they're exploring possible careers to go into, start with interest. But there is so much more to consider. There are values and working conditions. There are skills and work tasks. There are questions of pay and management style and geography. If you really want to be happy with your career, you need to step back and consider all of your preferences and then prioritize them so you know what you absolutely have to have in a job and what you can do without.
Other than interests, people should consider a few factors when exploring their careers. One of which could be longevity. What is the future of the career path you're pursuing? Does it have long-term growth and potential, or is the job that you're pursuing going to be outsourced within 6 months to a year to 2 years? Another could be the viable path in terms of upward mobility. Will you be able to be promoted? Are there opportunities to work overseas or in another location? Are there travel opportunities? Or is the job pretty much stagnant, and when you're hired, that's where you'll be a year, 3 years, 5 years from now?
So aside from interest, one would consider, or should consider, it would be wise to take a look at what is the industry doing right now? What jobs are hot? What jobs are still hiring? You know, take a look at the professions that are laying off and the professions that are not. Not to single out anyone, but I'm going to use it as an example. Nursing. I have friends who are in the mid-50s, even younger, but mid-50s, going back to take courses in nursing because that's a healthcare profession that will never stop being popular. So you want to take a look at the occupations that are still hiring.
Let's define your work preferences further by exploring your values. Consider the following list of values and try to get a sense of which ones are most important to you. Do you want a job that is challenging? Do you value job security or good benefits, such as a retirement plan or health insurance? How about work that is interesting or exciting or even unpredictable? Do you want work that allows you to help others or make a difference? Do you value your independence and want work with little supervision? Do you prefer to be busy all the time, or do you value a slower-paced environment? Would you like work that has a lot of contact with the public, or work that you do mostly by yourself? Would you rather have more time in your personal life, even if it means you will make less money? And how important is money compared to your other values?
You may be surprised to hear that money is not usually the most important factor people consider when they're looking for a job. In fact, most studies show that people care more about things like benefits, job security, independence, friendly coworkers, less job stress, and challenging or interesting work activities. That's not to say that pay isn't important. It's just that it's one factor to consider among several.
So what would you value most in your next job? Take a moment and jot down some ideas that can guide you later as you research possible careers. By this point, you've considered your values, interests, and skills. But there are other important preferences that may have an impact on your job objective. Take people, for example. The people you work with will have a big impact on your overall job satisfaction. Do you want a work environment where coworkers are encouraged to socialize outside of work, or one that is all business? Do you want to work with people who share your interests, or people with various interests and values? Take a moment and think about the types of people you prefer to work with and the kinds of working relationships you prefer. Now think about responsibility. In most organizations, greater responsibility often comes with greater pay and prestige. It also comes with greater accountability. Think about the level of responsibility you are comfortable with. Are you a natural leader? Do you like to work as part of a team? Take a moment to think about how much responsibility you want to have in your next job. And then there is the question of where you will do your work, inside or outside, in a big city or a small town. You might prefer a certain geographical location, wanting to work in the Midwest, for example, or somewhere warm. You might also have a preferred work environment. Do you like it quiet or noisy? Do you prefer to sit all day, or do you like to move around? What about a job that is dangerous? Would that bother you? Stop and think about where you want to work, both in terms of location and work environment, and write it down. These are just some of the other factors to consider when planning your career and choosing your job objective. And there are many others. Do you want to work for a small or large company, for example? Or maybe you want to start your own business. What sector of the economy do you want to work in? Private, for example, a small business, or public, for example, government or military? Or if you are thinking of changing careers, what industry do you want to work in? These are all important considerations. And of course, there is the question of money. How much would you like to reasonably earn, and just how little would you be willing to accept? Knowing the answer to these questions will make it easier for you to not only research jobs, but to carefully consider job offers when you get them. Now that you've thought about all of your preferences, take a moment and list them if you haven't already. You will need to know them before you start the next step of the process.